Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Okay, guys, Ascension Symptom Scale right off the bat, we're at 98. I'm shocked we're not at 99. I just, about an hour and a half ago, I got really sick with the stomach flu. And I had decided finally to go get that anti-fungus medicine, the anti-candida medicine, because I was having problems with my throat and various things. I kept trying to get rid of it for the past few weeks, and it wasn't going away after I had taken antibiotics. So I thought, well, maybe it's time to bite the bullet and spend the $50. So I'm on medicine for 3 more weeks. And my kid was like, my stomach's been bugging me, and we haven't done our regular anti-parasite maintenance. When you live, you should be doing this no matter where you live in the planet, but when you live in South America especially, they recommend every 3 to 6 months. 3 months is better. Just take the anti-parasite medicine whether you need it or not, and that makes sure that you're fine. So I went ahead and bought that. So I took both things thinking, well, probably in a couple days I'm going to feel a lot better. And all of a sudden the stomach flu hit. So the medicine plus the stomach flu, I'm not feeling too hot right now, guys. I'm just going to be honest. But I did manage to go to this pop-up feria, like it's kind of a makeshift fair, popped up in a pizza place. We knew it was going to happen, but if the pop-up is going to happen all over town and the cops don't really know the schedule, I guess, I don't know. My son was like, later after we got home, he's like, Mom, that was like so illegal, wasn't it? I'm like, I never thought about it that way. Probably it was. But most of the people in the feria, anyone's allowed to go, but most of the people are gringos that want to make a little extra money. And so they make artisanal bread. And there's a lady, she's here from Ecuador. She makes artisanal goat cheese that tastes like Parmesan, and it's marvelous. There's another lady, she's also, half the people are from Ecuador that were here. And then 2 of the guys are from Persia. They're Iranian. And so they have like the Persian version of baklava, which is, oh my God, it's so good. I didn't have it, but it looked phenomenal. I'm like, next time. And he had pistachios in it as well as walnuts. Oh, I love Persian food. It's amazing. And I couldn't even believe it. I mean, I am a Muslim. I'm a Shia Muslim. And today I met 2 Shia Muslims. You never see Shia, especially in South America. So when you do see Muslims here, they're from Pakistan or Turkey. And usually they're Sunni, which is, it's like the largest, 90% of the Muslims are Sunni. And they're in the rest of the world where all the wars are, they're trying to kill the Shia. So I'm in the smallest part. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the religion, but I just thought it was spectacular. I'm like, what? I met 2 people that were Shia. That's so cool. But the Iranian culture is very interesting. It's very beautiful. There's a lot of poetry and a lot of wonderful things coming out of that culture, and the food is amazing. So it was really weird to run into someone, or 2 someones that are from there, but they had Persian yogurt and all vegan, gluten-free stuff. And then this other lady from Ecuador here, she's from just outside the city. All of her stuff was sugar-free and gluten-free, and she uses bananas and apple juice from her apples from her tree that's all organic to make muffins without sugar. I mean, everything there was super, super healthy, overwhelmingly healthy. The bacon guy, I went for the bacon guy and he wasn't there, so I've got to write him. He left a couple hours before I got there, I guess, and I just missed him. I shouldn't even talk about eating pork right after I said I'm a Muslim, but my kid he's just eating me out of house and home, and I'm like, okay, I got to come up with new and exciting ways for him to have breakfast. And I thought, well, if I go to the bacon guy, I could freeze it, and then my son could have bacon and eggs every morning. We grew up on that before we turned Muslim, and that's our one sin. It's considered haram. It's considered a sin in our religion to eat. Just like the same thing with in Judaism. But anyway, I went for the bacon guy, and well, God saves you. I've said that a few times. Well, the bacon guy wasn't there, so all right, I heard you loud and clear, big guy. No bacon for us. So we got a bunch of gluten-free stuff. I had cheese pizza for lunch. I mean, it was also healthy, very healthy. So it was good. Good day, but we got home and I just started getting overwhelmingly tired. Like, God, I felt like I haven't slept in 3 days out of nowhere, just the ascension symptoms came and hit me about the time probably that we were hit by that solar flare. I think yesterday I announced we were hit by the solar flare, but it was expected today. And all day yesterday I thought was Saturday. And then I woke up today, I'm like, wait, today's Saturday. So my Saturday was like 48 hours long. And I didn't have a Friday at all. So weird. But yeah, I don't know. My sense of time has been off. And remember what I said, though, yesterday is that today we were going to get hit by not only the solar flare, but the full moon. And when I was having one of these super power naps given to me by the cosmos yesterday, I was shown that we were going to have to start dealing with the third chakra situation, which includes digestion and the intestines and the stomach. All the organs of digesting your food and digesting parts of your life that you were not accepting before, and that it could manifest itself in digestive issues like stomach flu. So here I am, a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess. I didn't expect to get this. I was like, well, maybe with the candida in my stomach, I think that might have been, or my intestinal tract, I guess. So I decided to get the medicine today. And I got home and then I was hit by the stomach flu. So, oh, wow. I don't know. I hope you guys are faring well, faring better than me at least. When we got home, my kid's like, okay, Mom, I'm going to go see my girlfriend. And he came home and he goes, you're not going to believe what happened. I was at her house and I was getting ready to leave, and she said she had to go to the bathroom, and I had to go to the bathroom. And when I got out of the bathroom, she yelled to me and said, I can't even go out there. I am so sick out of nowhere. And she had the stomach flu. She was stuck in the bathroom. She texted him. She was stuck in the bathroom throwing up. And he got home and he's like, Mom, I've had diarrhea all afternoon. I'm so sick. So I don't know. I mean, it's weird. The food we ate today was healthy. It was good food. We didn't eat anything that was going to make us get sick, but it's just like the sudden out of nowhere thing. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. I guess this is how the third chakra cleans itself out, and the mental body and emotional body and the physical, obviously. It's all cleaning itself out. And I think maybe, all right, my higher guidance says by Monday we should all be okay. So if you're going through some intestinal stuff or stomach related stuff or having acid reflux or whatever it is, I did find out that putting a little bit, like a fourth of a teaspoon to half of a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of water will help. You do that a couple times, maybe do that twice in a row if you have to. If you do have H. pylori issues, which is a bacteria that mostly everyone has, but it doesn't attack the stomach unless you drink contaminated water. So if your pipes your water gets shut off, and then when you go to turn it back on, they'll have more H. pylori in that water, and it can really hurt you. So I have H. pylori issues right now because they keep doing that to us in our building. And even though I boil the water, I'd still cook with it. And I don't know what happened. We're having these issues. So if you have H. pylori, Pepto-Bismol or pink bismuth does kill it, but you really should see a doctor and go on medicine if you have that. But baking soda does help. And bananas help, but if you have candida overgrowth, bananas make that worse. So that's where I'm going through right now. So the baking soda has been really helping me. Also putting heat, applying like just a hot washcloth. And if you don't want your skin to get wet because you feel really sick to your stomach, put it in like a Ziploc bag. And you put just a hot washcloth, like with hot water on it, and bring it out and just fold it and then put that in a Ziploc bag and put that over your stomach or your lower stomach, and that will help. Mint tea also helps. If you have any candy canes left over for Christmas, it's time to bust those out. But mint tea does help. Ginger tea also helps. If you just have fresh ginger, just put a little bit of that in a cup of hot water. That helps. Coconut kills off most things, stomach and intestinal related. Coconut oil. So if you just take a teaspoon of coconut oil, or a tablespoon if you can stand it right now. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else do we do for... That's about it. Just rest, lots of sleep when you can stand it, lots of water. I don't know. This is bad. It's a pretty gnarly, man. My stomach hurts a lot. So, I'll be okay. If I don't die tomorrow, I'll be back with another show. I know I'm going to be okay. I've been talking to my spiritual medical team. They told me it's a flu, but I'll be better by Monday, and I just got to sit through it and get through it. But luckily I had all the medicine, it's like between my son and I, we both had really great intuition on this, because by the time we got home, we both got sick. So anyway, we're going to be okay, and you guys are going to be okay too. And you've got me to listen to. Catch up on old shows that you've missed if you're sick, right? Anyway, I wanted to go over the Schumann resonance before we get into tonight's topic. They only did the evening report again. So at 17 o'clock on the 17th, today of May. Today, the activity lasted most of the day. It started with minor peaks at 10 hertz shortly after midnight, to then highlight 3 most significant peaks. The first, most powerful for the day, was 37 hertz at 5 UTC, and later by 2 others above 30 hertz. The movements continued between 15 and 30 hertz until 16:30, like 4:30 in the afternoon, and then returned to normal values. So basically the peak for the whole day is 37 hertz. Not bad. All right. It's pretty cool. Not quite the 5th dimension, I guess, but we are in the 5th dimension. So I don't know. I've been thinking, and I've been studying a little bit more about this. There's a lot of people on YouTube talking about how we're different. We're doing different. Different things are happening, and I started realizing that someone did say that there's like 3 different paths. There's those of us that are in the ethereal planes and we haven't realized it yet. There are those of us that are in the middle. And then there are those of us that are absolutely still stuck like in the lower level of this. And they're the ones who are going to feel most of the disasters. And then those of us that are in the middle, we're going to feel some of the disasters, but it's not going to affect us too much. It'll be something, but not a lot. And then some of us are just in the ethereal. We're going to just automatically rise all the way up and not even realize our physical bodies are gone for a while. And it's just going to feel normal. And then all of a sudden we're going to wake up and go, oh yeah. And that hasn't happened yet. I don't know. I don't even know which one I'd want to be on. Do I want to be on the second one or the ethereal one? I don't know. I know I don't want to be with all the natural disasters one. That, those are people that are absolutely asleep and they refuse to wake up, and they're on a different spiritual timeline than those of us that are trying actively to ascend. So, raising our vibrations and focusing on positive stuff and whatnot. So I started thinking, that a lot of the spiritual people, some of them are still in the lower levels of this. We all have to have our parts. So there are some people that it's been brought to my attention that are saying that they're being attacked by dark forces or negative entities or the cabal, and I'm like, I'm in the fifth dimension. None of that crap even exists where I'm at, but I'm not discounting what they're saying because maybe they really are experiencing that. And it made me realize that even though we're all in different places, we still have communication with each other over the phone, over the internet, through email, through whatever means of communicating that we have. And I started thinking that's like pretty interesting, because when people die and they go to heaven or the afterlife or the other side, whatever you want to call it, they can see and hear what we're going through, but we don't have that luxury from our side. We can't really see and hear them unless we're a psychic medium and developed that skill, because everyone can develop that skill, but it's kind of a one-way communication. It's almost like they're looking through a one-way mirror, or right, all mirrors are one way, two-way mirror, like, what cops have in interrogation rooms. So I feel like we're almost like that for people that are still really asleep. That we can see what's going on in the world, so we have to look to our inner eyes, our inward self, to see the truth, to become illumined and enlightened, because even though we could see what's going on over there, that's not where we are anyway. We could just see it. Like we're looking, we're in the safe house, but we're looking outside. We could still see what's going on out there. So I wanted to keep you guys to keep that in mind, because we're not really, we don't have to be affected by it, and we don't need to be infected by it. And I don't think we ought to focus on the negative and bad stuff. Like I've said in other shows, just if something comes across your personal attention, sign the petition and don't dwell on it. Something really bad comes across your desk, just take care of it. Write a check or sign a petition and forward it, and then just ignore it after that. Take the action, make life better for other people, or animals or the environment, but don't dwell on the negative parts, because that's going to help you to raise your vibration, is to not dwell on stuff that is of a lower nature in vibration. So just focus on the beautiful sky, or, the smile on a baby's face, or hugging your loved ones, or, meditate on God, whatever it is that makes you happy. Smelling roses, that's something that makes me happy. Smelling coffee too. Oh my God. I met a farmer from Loja today. I met an Ecuadorian coffee farmer. I'm like, oh my God, he is my hero. Just because I am such a coffee addict. He also grows chocolate. He's living the dream for real. And he gave me these sample. He makes these concoctions, these peanuts, and he made these peanuts with turmeric. I would never think to put these two things together, and wow, they're phenomenal. So if you have any peanuts laying around, just bathe them in turmeric. Turmeric gets out inflammation, also kills any thing that could be in your digestive tract, by the way. So turmeric is something. If you want to make yourself some popcorn, if you don't think it'll be too rough on you, if you are having some issues, turmeric will take inflammation out of your whole body. Usually I put a little bit of turmeric in the oil, and then I make popcorn, and it comes out the movie, like in the movie theater color of yellow. I think they might have been putting turmeric in it the whole time, possibly. It's probably yellow dye. Who am I kidding? But if you do turmeric, it will look like movie popcorn, and it will taste good. It tastes a little bit like dirt, so don't put a whole lot, just a tiny bit. But it does take inflammation out. I'm always feeling better the day after I eat this. So anyway, that is what it is. But I just, I want to tell you guys what's going on with me. Right after I said that yesterday, it kind of blows me away. This is something that I'm really working on and dealing with. A lot of people have been my whole life have tried to take away my personal power. When you're adopted, especially, people put on you things that don't really belong to you. So my original mother gave me away. And so my original family, they accept me, but they don't include me. Because I wasn't part of their family growing up. They assume I have another family. And then the family that adopted me assumes that now that I met my birth family, maybe? I don't know. People assume. But they also didn't include me because I wasn't officially one of theirs. Even though they have included me. My cousin Christine, she's amazing. And she's always included me. She invited me to her wedding. And I hadn't seen her since she was a baby. So it was like, oh my God, But very rarely do my adopted families actually want to interact with me. It's really, really rare, except for my mom and dad. No one really. So it's I've been walking between worlds my whole life in every level. Families the adopted family don't really consider me real or original, or somehow I'm like a bastard child. And to my birth family, they didn't really know how to react when I came back after 30 years. It's kind of a hard adjustment, or not an adjustment anyone considered making. So I'm not on the family mailing list or whatever. And good people though. I mean, I love them all, and they love me too, very much actually. But we're just not really in touch. No one's in touch with me. And when I write to them, I just don't really get responses back. It's almost like they don't have to respond to me because I'm not legitimate somehow. And so not having legitimacy from the day I was conceived was, that's a third chakra. That's an example of a third chakra thing. So I don't know, guys. It is what it is. And so I don't know. I don't know what kind of third chakra stuff are you guys going through today with this full moon hitting, plus the solar flare. This is a doozy. I expected the Schumann resonance to be super high. I'm shocked it's not higher. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. All right, guys. I am going to take a quick break. Please listen to, or you don't even have to, just go grab yourself some water or hot tea, herbal tea, whatever you want to have today. Go and give me a minute. I'll be right back. And tonight's topic is, because it's Saturday and I ran out of the Grandma Marion stories, we're going to continue with spiritual poetry. And tonight's topic will be the poetry of Robert Frost, an American poet who found the beauty of the divine in nature. When we come back. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions, and I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you could get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. Robert Frost was an American poet, even though his work was first published in England before it was published in America. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner for poetry. He also won the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works. And in 1961, he was named the Poet Laureate of Vermont. So he was born in San Francisco on March 26th, 1874. And he passed away on my mother's birthday, January 29th, 1963. So 55 years ago, and like 4 months, he died. So he was born to a Scottish immigrant. His mother, Isabel Moody, and his father was journalist William Prescott Frost Jr. And his father was a journalist in San Francisco, and he worked for the San Francisco Evening Bulletin, which later merged with and became the San Francisco Examiner, which is still in circulation today. But when Robert Frost was only 11 years old, his father passed away, and they moved back to be with other family members to Lawrence, Massachusetts. So he kind of had to grow up in a hurry, you know, and when he was old enough, he started working at various jobs, and he helped his mom teach a class of unruly boys. He delivered newspapers. He even maintained carbon arc lamps in a factory, and he delivered newspapers. So yeah, he didn't enjoy any of the jobs that he had to do just to help his mom make ends meet. But he knew that his true calling was poetry. He always knew that. His mother, this is an interesting fact about him, his mom joined a church called the Swedenborgian Church, which was a mystical church. He was baptized in it, and just went along with her. But when he became an adult, he left the church. A lot of people believed that he was an atheist, even though his poetry is very spiritual in nature. A lot of people thought maybe he's an agnostic. And it wasn't until he died they discovered papers in his home and notes and things he had written. And it turned out that he was greatly inspired by the early works of the Bible. Even though he wasn't Christian and did not consider himself Christian, he actually was greatly inspired by Psalms and Proverbs and a lot of the other early, basically the Torah. So I quite agree. I mean, I love Proverbs. If you've never read the Bible, go look it up online. I mean, Proverbs it's like just a bunch of fun, like quotes and sayings and things that it's just like super good advice. Actually, I used to have a journal when I was a kid. My Sunday school teacher, back when I was Christian, she had us put together a book of Proverbs. She said, read the book of Proverbs, and anything that strikes your ear as ringing true, and you feel it in your heart that it's real and true, write it down. Anything that you read, just write it down in this book. And she bought us all these books, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So, I don't know, I kind of relate to Robert Frost in this way. So basically he grew up in New Hampshire and he, in Massachusetts, and he lived in a lot of different places, but mostly mostly in the East Coast, even though he spent his first 11 years in San Francisco. So I can't imagine what that would feel like to an 11-year-old to have to move back, even though the East Coast is super cool. I guess I've never been there. I don't know. My heart's in San Francisco always. So, okay. So, this is something I forgot to say is when he was 11, his father died of tuberculosis. I did say he died. I didn't say of what. Oh my God. And left the family with $8. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's like so horrible. I didn't even know that. I'm like reading it as I'm like telling it as I'm going along. So, in the year 1900, so 5 years later, his mother died of cancer. And he had to commit his younger sister, Jeannie, to a mental hospital, and she died 9 years later after the mom. So mental illness ran in the family, and he and his mother both had depression, which is like kind of obvious, right? When you're 11 years old, your father dies. Of course you're going to have that, if you don't deal with it. That's obvious, right? Anyway, his daughter also was committed to a mental institution in 1947, and his wife, Eleanor, was also depressed. Well, like attracts like, right? So, but he did have 6 children, and I don't want to go over all the sadnesses with his kids and stuff, but he had a lot of grief and loss, and in many ways that actually probably did fuel his poetry. It's usually when you're happy and everything is going your way, you probably don't feel like sitting around and writing poetry. You feel like clicking your heels and running down the street or running into the woods and enjoying every moment and not really contemplating. And when you have those dark nights of the soul, such as depression, that's when you really want to write about things. And when you have good moments, you have to record them so that you remember them in the darkest of times, especially when you're suffering through so much heartache, grief, and loss. So when you consider what Robert Frost went through, and then you read the following poem, it's going to give you a deeper meaning than if you just read the poem without knowing about him. So let me get into this. The poem is called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. All right, well, that was like so sad. Whew, I don't want to cry, but man, that's like really sad. You could kind of see, though, like his dark night of the soul, you know, and we've all been through this. So I'm going to read 4 more of his most famous poems. And this is one that kind of goes along with what's going on in the world, called Fire and Ice. And I'm sure you've heard this, but if not, if this is the first time, you might actually like this one. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. I don't know, I like that one. It's one of my favorite ones from him. It's so weird. Yeah, either way, it's not good. Day After Tomorrow or Kilauea, I don't know. Volcano or, you know, polar bear storms, polar vortexes, you know, I don't know. But talking about the dark night of the soul, here's one. Acquainted with the night. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet. When far away an interrupted cry came over houses from another street. But not to me call back or say goodbye, and further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen that you can't really, there's nothing you can do. And when you hear someone in trouble, sometimes you just have to let it go. And I don't know, is that supposed to be my only takeaway from that? I don't know. But yeah, it sounds like maybe that's kind of what he did to clear his head, taking walks. That actually is something we all could do. And speaking of taking walks, here's one of the most famous ones. It's called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, and I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So he deepened the meaning of the "and miles to go before I sleep" by saying it twice. You know, the first time you hear it, you think, yeah, he's out there at night, it's late, he wants to go home and go to bed. But then when he says it a second time, you realize he means that one day he'll be dead, but he has a lot of time in between that night and that night. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. This is a good one. This is something we can all relate to. This one's called The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I ever should come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Some more ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all of the difference. Okay, now we're going to get into some poems that you might not have heard of. This one is called On Looking Up by Chance at the Constellations. You'll wait a long, long time for anything much to happen in heavens beyond the floats of cloud, and the northern lights that run like tingling nerves. The sun and moon get crossed, but they never touch, nor strike out fire from each other, nor crash out loud. The planets seem to interfere in their curves, but nothing ever happens, no harm is done. We may as well go patiently on with our life and look elsewhere than to stars and moon and sun, for the shocks and changes we need to keep us sane. It is true, the longest drought will end in rain. The longest peace in China will end in strife. Still, it wouldn't reward the watcher to stay awake in hopes of seeing the calm of heaven break. On his particular time and personal sight, the calm seems certainly safe to last tonight. That was pretty cool, actually. I like that one. I'm reading these ones for the first time myself, okay? So we're learning this together. This one was written in 1928, and it's called The Birthplace. Here, further up the mountain slope than there was ever any hope, my father built, enclosed a spring, strung chains of wall round everything, subdued the growth of earth to grass, and brought our various lives to pass. 12 girls and boys were we. The mountain seemed to like the stir, and made of us a little while, with something always in her smile. Today she wouldn't know our name. No girls, of course, has stayed the same. The mountain pushed us off her knees, and now her lap is full of trees. That doesn't sound at all like where he grew up, does it? But I don't know, if I count the people in his family, you know, him and his sister, and he's got 6 kids, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know, maybe he's not talking about his own family. But he was part of a large family, so I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe this is true. I don't know. I mean, here it says it's part of a large family, but I don't know if this person actually looked into his life. There's a little article about his poems, but it's like when he and his mom moved back east after his dad died, it was only him and his sister, so well, maybe this author that wrote this article didn't pay attention to that. I don't know. And maybe he was just talking about somebody else's life, right? All right, let's go to a next one. Now, if you remember my interview with the spirit of the moon. I wonder how this will how this will hold up compared to that, or how that will hold up compared to this. Okay. The Freedom of the Moon, written in 1928. I've tried the new moon tilted in the air above a hazy tree and farmhouse cluster. As you might try a jewel in your hair, I've tried it fine with little breadth of luster. Alone or in one ornament combining, with one first water start almost shining. I put it shining anywhere I please, by walking slowly on some evening later. I've pulled it from a crate of crooked trees and brought it over glossy water greater, and dropped it in and seen the image wallow, the color run, all sorts of wonder follow. Oh, that's interesting. Have you guys ever been driving and noticed that the moon seems to go along with you? It's just an optical illusion, because clearly that's not actually happening. But the freedom of the moon, that's a great name for that. Because as you move, the image of the moon or the sun or whatever heavenly body above, it appears to move with you. That's pretty cool. I thought it was going to be about something else, so ignore my previous commentary. All right, 1923, he wrote this poem called In a Disused Graveyard. The living come with grassy tread to read the gravestones on the hill. The graveyard draws the living still, but never any more the dead. The verses in it say and say, the ones who living come today, to read the stones and go away. Tomorrow dead will come to stay. So sure of death the marbles rhyme, yet can't help marking all the time how no one dead will seem to come. What is it men are shrinking from? It would be easy to be clever and tell the stones men hate to die, and have stopped dying now forever. I think they would believe the lie. It's true. Have you guys ever walked through a cemetery and actually read the gravestones? It's interesting, especially when you see one that's super old, like a couple 100 years old, and it's like, whoa, it's so long ago. That person has probably been reincarnated twice now, It's so strange. It's such a weird feeling. Okay. This one is called Good Hours, and he wrote this one in 1914. I had for my winter evening walk no one at all with whom to talk, but I had the cottages in a row up to their shining eyes in snow. And I thought I had the folk within. I had the sound of a violin. I had a glimpse through curtain laces of youthful forms and youthful faces. I had such company outward bound. I went till there were no cottages found. I turned and repented, but coming back, I saw no window, but that was black. Over the snow my creaking feet disturbed the slumbering village street. Like profanation, by your leave, at 10 o'clock of a winter eve. Sounds like he liked to take walks, and that is one of the things we can always do. When you take walks, your muscles relax and your body feels better and relieved. Your lymph nodes will drain. You won't hold on to water retention so much. It's good. It's good also to see new things with your mind. Walking is something during this ascension we should probably do a little bit more of. And when I say we, I mean me specifically, but also you too. So I wonder what would happen if we all took a morning walk or an evening stroll. How would that change us? I think I'm going to start doing this. Robert Frost, he's influencing me from beyond the grave. Ooh, okay. Flower Gathering, written in 1913. I left you in the morning, and in the morning glow, you walked away beside me to make me sad to go. Do you know me in the gloaming, gaunt and dusty gray with roaming? Are you dumb because you know me not, or dumb because you know? All for me? Not a question. For the faded flowers gay, that could take me from beside you for the ages of a day. They are yours, and be the measure of their worth for you to treasure, the measure of the little while that I've been long away. So, obviously, he wrote this for his new wife, who was pregnant at the time, and she couldn't leave the house with him. And I don't know, if you've ever been in love, and then when you and your beloved are a pregnant couple, it's like even 5 minutes apart, it seems like 5 months. Sometimes it's very hard. So I kind of relate to that a little bit. So in 1913, he also wrote Wind and Window Flower. This is also about love. Lovers forget your love and list to the love of these. She a window flower, and he a winter breeze. When the frosty window veil was melted down at noon, and the caged yellow bird hung over her in tune, he marked her through the pane he could not help but mark, and only passed her by to come again at dark. He was a winter wind, concerned with ice and snow, dead weeds and unmated birds, and little of love could know. But he sighed upon the sill, he gave the sash a shake, as witness all within who lay that night awake. Perchance he half prevailed to win her for the flight from the firelit looking-glass and warm stove window light. But the flower leaned aside and thought of naught to say, and morning found the breeze 100 miles away. Ah, that's so sad and so romantic, and it's so perfect for the pre-Victorian age, is it not? It's a sad tale of unrealized and somewhat inappropriate love. That's what this author says. And that could be, obviously metaphor for two ships passing in the night. You meet someone and you have an attraction, but there's like absolutely nothing in common and you can't be together. And it's kind of like a love lost, the unrequited love story that I'm sure each and every one of you knows. I know it for sure. I've been the object of affections of men I had no desire for, and in turn I've had longing thoughts for people who just didn't even know I existed. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling, but he really captured it though, didn't he? Oh, it was a nice one. Okay. Looking for a Sunset Bird in Winter. This one was written in 1923. The west was getting out of gold. The breath of air had died of cold. When chewing home across the white, I thought I saw a bird alight. In summer when I passed the place, I'd stopped and lift my face. A bird with an angelic gift was singing in it sweet and swift. No bird was singing in it now, a single leaf was on a bough. And that was all there was to see in going twice around the tree. From my advantage on a hill, I judged that such a crystal chill was only adding frost to snow, as gilt to gold that wouldn't show. A brush had left a crooked stroke of what was either cloud or smoke. From north to south across the blue, a piercing little star was through. Wow. He can paint a word picture, can't he? Wow. Phew. Ooh, that one just... it's like, could you guys see it? When I was reading it, I could just see it. I could see what he was seeing. Like I was seeing through his eyes. Whew, love that. All right, in 1928, he wrote this one called The Egg and the Machine. He gave the solid rail a hateful kick. From far away there came an answering tick, and then another tick. He knew the code. His hate had roused an engine up the road. He wished when he had had the track alone, he had attacked it with a club or stone, and bent some rail wide open like switch, so as to wreck the engine in the ditch. Too late, though, now he had himself to thank. Its click was rising to a nearer clank. Here it came, breasting like a horse in skirts. He stood well back for fearing of scalding squirts. Then for a moment all there was sighs, confusion, and a roar that drowned the cries. He raised against the gods in the machine. Then once again the sandbank lay serene. The traveler's eye picked up a turtle train, between the dotted feet a streak of tail, and followed it to where he made out vague but certain signs of buried turtle's egg. And probing with one finger not too rough, he found suspicious sand and, sure enough, the pocket of a little turtle mine. If there was one egg in it, there were 9. Torpedo-like with shell of gritty leather, all packed in sand to weight the trump together. You'd better not disturb any more, he told the distance. I am armed for war. The next machine that has the power to pass will get this plasm in its goggle glass. Aw. That's so sad, right? He was just trying to save the turtles. And he got very angry at the train. And it does talk about kind of being so angry at the progress of humans when they don't consider the natural world. He obviously loved nature and animals very much, and probably why he went out walking around all the time is it just was a part of him. That was his spirituality, you know. So yeah, it's kind of sad and kind of funny at the same time, you know, like Don Quixote being angry at windmills, or, you know, you just can't really be angry at, you know, a machine. Rage Against the Machine. Now I wonder if that band didn't name themselves after that poem. Maybe there's a secret there we don't know. Okay. This is the last poem I'm going to read for the night because I think I need to rest. I'm not, like I said before, I'm not feeling too hot, so I at least wanted to spend a little bit of time with you guys tonight. Okay, so this one was written in 1937, and it's called Leaves Compared with Flowers. A tree's leaves may be ever so good, so may its bark, so may its wood. But unless you put the right thing to its root, it never will show much flower or fruit. But I may be one who does not care ever to have tree bloom or bear. Leaves for smooth and bark for rough, Leaves and bark may be tree enough. Some giant trees have blooms so small, they might as well have none at all. Late in life I have come on fern. Now lichens are due to have their turn. I bade men tell me, which in brief, which is fairer, flower or leaf. They did not have the wit to say, leaves by night and flowers by day. Leaves and bark, to lean against and hear in the dark. Petals I may have once pursued. Leaves are all my darker mood. Wow, that was good, right? It's funny, I'm having to throw out 3 of my flowers out of the 8 flowers that my son gave me because they died, and as cut flowers do, they only last a little while, and it's been, tomorrow will be 7 days. Well, no, actually today is the 7th day. And usually flowers I get here last about 10 to 14 days, but I had to throw some away yesterday and it was kind of sad. But these leaves that came with the flowers are still strong and sturdy. And I kind of have to agree with this poem because I put them in water and I put them in my window and they're kind of giving me a little bit of a blind so the neighbors can't really see in as much. I mean, a little bit they can, but it's really pretty. But I'm like, I got to go in there tonight and throw away 3 more flowers. It's kind of sad. The yellow flowers were more sturdy. So I have 3 yellow flowers in a vase now. 3 yellow roses. And somehow I'm thinking about Texas when I see them, which is funny. But anyway, I just wanted to share the poetry of Robert Frost. He didn't really write about God so much, but he wrote a lot about nature and what God created. And there's a lot of deep, powerful spiritual meaning behind it. And he had his emotions in there with his poems. And considering all the stuff that he went through, obviously some of his stuff is going to be melancholy, or a little sad, or poignant, bittersweet. But he also has, it seems, his most beautiful moments were out in nature, where God was his constant, silent companion and walked beside him whether he were aware of it or not. So, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's about all I got to say for now. Other than, I love you very much. I hope that you're safe and well and happy. And if you're not, I hope you're working through it. And I hope that my show is helping you through it. We have a little ways to go. Just a little ways to go, and we're going to be where we need to be our happiest yet. And of that you can bet. I'm starting to be poetic. When I start to talk in rhyme, that's when you know it's time for me to go. But tomorrow there will be another show. See? Oh my God. This is why I read poetry. This is what happens to me. Oh my God. I just can't stop it. All right, I'm gonna go now. Please shoot me a line over at metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. Feel free to comment, question any ideas for upcoming shows, or you could send me a voice message and I will play it on the air if you want at anchor.fm/metaphysical. And with that, I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.